I think the reason this is all misunderstood, quite frankly, insider threat was the United States intelligence uh, term. And really, if you talk to anybody that's been in the FBI, NSA, DOD, CIA, you name some three-letter abbreviated agency, when you say insider threat, people really think of spies. And when I think of spies, I think of people that have clearances that are stealing stuff to give to a foreign power, blah, 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 blah.
You think of it in a government setting?
I can tell you, because I was there, that's what this term was built around. And I think the private sector has adopted it. And I think they've adopted it out of necessity. I think it's the wrong term, and we can talk about that a little later. I mean, but it conjures things in your mind if you know what you're doing. It's not really what the private sector is trying to talk about. And I think the reason that's an important issue is because if you're talking about it and the name exudes certain things that people that know what they're doing actually believe it is versus what it really is in the private sector, I think it causes confusion. And that confusion, I can tell you, I've seen in big corporations around the country, around the world actually, that have asked me to consult on or talk to them about insider threat, you know?
How is it different in the corporate environment?
Well, going back, like I said, spy's a spy. That's somebody that's in, it's got a clearance inside the United States government usually, and they're trying to steal stuff to go to a foreign power, or they're in the USIC someplace. I think inside the corporate world, when you're talking about, and let's just call it insider threat for now, I have different terms for this, but it splits, it bifurcates immediately in two different situations. So inside a corporation, I don't care if you have a little teeny corporation or a giant corporation, you've got people that are working for you. And so you've got a trusted insider employee that may do something inadvertently that causes damage to your company or potentially information that you want to keep close hold because it's proprietary trade secret that you don't want anybody else to know to get out. Right. And that could be, we can talk about that all day long, right? It could be clicking on the wrong email. It could be answering the phone and somebody convincing you that, it's actually Bob and you need to reset my admin pass, all that stuff.
Mhm.
But it's a trusted employee that's not trying to hurt anybody. They're just trying to get through their day, right? They're rushing to get their kids or they're rushing to go meet their wife. There's a million reasons for it, but they do something inadvertently. They're still a good employee. By the way, this is how like 99% of all major cyber breaches happen. It's not like, whatever, but when we're
Not
talking,
intentional.
no, it's not. It's usually because the attack vectors are so much different. But the point is for insider threat, it splits in two immediately. And for any company, it's kind of hard to understand because you have to handle the threat from conscientious employees that aren't trying to do anything wrong and they just accidentally click or do whatever. But then you have a malicious insider that is intentionally trying to destroy the company, steal from the company, provide access to the company. And by the way, this could be from anybody. It could be a criminal organization. It could be just what they're trying to do. It could be because they either knowingly or unknowingly are being directed by a nation state to do it.